Good morning. I have kind of a full day today. I have meetings, I have work, like traditional work. I have to sew a bunch of orders. I am in the midst of conversations with different clients about different orders and things. And I just thought that I would take you along for kind of one of my mornings. I would say typical, but my schedule changes so often. I never kind of know what I'm doing until a few days prior or whatever, as orders come in, things like that. So yeah, recently I've spent a lot of time working on woven clothing, and I've been really loving investing my time and energy into that. And it's been nice to take a small step away from bag making and just churning out wallets. But alas, the crux of my business has come calling, and I do need to fill some orders. But first, I do have a side project. I've always kept my thread down here. I don't know if you can see it, but I have IKEA bookshelves, and I do love the way they look, and they're nice. All my thread is just down to the right of me, but oddly enough, the first shelf just kind of boop, the bottom of it just fell. And then a day later, the second one did the same thing. And it's so curious with the timing on that. And I was going to fix them, but it involves taking them out of the wall, patching holes, all that stuff. Or just like putting a piece of wood underneath to brace them, which totally could do. Then I had the idea, I have all this extra space on my pegboard. Why not use my pegboard? So I ordered a bunch of pegboard accessories. They're 6-inch pegs. And I thought that I would put all my thread up on the pegboard. So let's try that out. Next thing I have to work on is I received a custom order, and it's for a dolly crossbody bag, which is a free pattern by Swoon, which I think is the make space now. It was Sewing Patterns by Mrs. H, and then it got purchased, or no, it was Swoon, then it got purchased by Sewing Patterns by Mrs. H, and then now I think she's rebranded to the make space. Anyways, the dolly crossbody is a free pattern, or it used to be at least. I don't know if it is still. But it's a really cute little round bag. I love it so much. I haven't made one in a long time. But the original cork that she wanted was unicorn. And I don't know if any of you work with cork, but the unicorn is getting increasingly harder to find. And what was once a staple on my table and in my designs is now an accent, which is sad, but such is life. But anyway, so I've been chatting with her about different possibilities for bags, and she also ordered a key fob wall in olive, so she brought up maybe doing olive and mustard together. I'm going to send her a picture of that and see if she likes this color combo, which I've never actually done. Olive and mustard, it does seem like a great pairing. It's giving like fall energy, but you can't go wrong with olive and mustard. They're such, like, in my mind, they're basics. So I'm going to send this over. This gal found me on Etsy, which kind of sucks because Etsy takes so much in fees, but it's kind of the price you pay. So I'm gonna get this sent over to her, this photo, see if she digs it, and if so, then we can do a fabric pull and figure out the lining fabric. Also, don't mind my look. This is how I sleep. My hair's gotten so long that I like to sleep with it in braids, and then it gives me a little bit of a wave, which I suppose we could take it out. So this is what I do just to save my sanity while I'm sleeping. And then I did get my roots bleached, and I'm going to be putting more color on them, but I just haven't felt up to it. It's an endeavor, and it's messy, and I just haven't felt the desire to do that yet. So I am rocking the Khaleesi look right now. Once upon a time, I used to keep my roots bleached like this for a while, and then I would, once they started to grow out slightly, I would throw some color on. But because my intention was to immediately put color on it, we didn't tone it. So it's a little bit stripey. Okay, I look like Weird Al Yankovic right now. And that is how I always do my hair. I do the flip scratch method. Not sure if you're familiar, but nothing like taking your hair out of braids after you washed it and it smells so good. Okay. Okay, what else is on the docket? So I have lots of other orders. So this is for a dolly crossbody and a key fob wallet. And then I have an olive slim bifold. That will take like 2 seconds. Granada cork, or Granada bifold wallet, eggplant trifold, scorch trifold, another trifold, but it doesn't say which cork. I'm assuming Granada because I don't know what it is with my listings on Etsy, but whenever they don't have the color, it's usually Granada. Let's see. Yep. This person is a repeat buyer. I love that. I think it's so fun when people come back. I always like to see when the last time they ordered was. 2021 was the last time they bought a wallet from me. So here we are 5 years later. Presumably they're getting a replacement. So that's fun. I do find that that's about my turnaround time with people. And I do have a lot of repeat buyers, which I love. It tells me that they like my product and my workmanship, which is great. But it's about 5 to 7 years when I see people coming back for replacements of their own stuff. And then I do get a lot of repeat buyers that gift, like the lady with the purse and the key fob wallet. I had made her a wristlet clutch several years ago, and so she came to me to make a wallet or a bag wallet combo for her friend. So that's always fun. I love that. So I'm gonna work on getting these cut out, and then yeah, we'll go from there. I also have things in different states of completeness. I've been working on a tall version of the koozie, and I have it. I just need to like finalize it and draw it in my like digital workspace, so that way I can get it out to you guys. And I also have a new bag pattern that I've been working on, and it is quite fun, but I've been kind of bouncing between 2 versions of it. And I think I've decided on the version that I want, but yeah, I'm just not quite 100% there yet, but it is cute. Maybe I'll do a little sneak peek later on in the video. But for now, let's cut out some wallets. If I'm cutting and there's little nicks in my cork, I just write over it with my silver marker or silver pen to remind myself, and then when I'm actually assembling the wallet, I know to put that little snip on the inside area, so that way it doesn't cause an issue later on. But there's no reason not to use these little pieces because cork doesn't rip on its own, especially when it's sewn on the inside of the seam. So yeah, that's how I like to remind myself what to look out for mid-construction. marking there. I've never seen that. Oh, look, it's on both sides. This is scorched cork. It's so pretty. It's just a bunch of chunks of cork that they lay together. It's all different, like, levels of natural, the coloration of it. It's really, really, really pretty with cobalt blue. All right, with this we have a trifold wallet, no RFID. Now all these patterns that I'm cutting are my own, so I have them memorized, but I do have PDFs and PDF SVGs and acrylic templates on my site. If you're interested, I'll put all of the patterns that I'm cutting down in the description box. And then this is my collab that I did with Heartwood and Hide, the curated corner template. I'm cutting 3/8 inch bevels on all of my pockets and top edges of my wallet. I also have 1/4 inch bevel, 1 inch round, and 1.5 inch round. I love using all those measurements for different things in my sewing. Exterior cash panel, card slot backs, 6 card slots. Bing, bang, boom. Sometimes I get really bored of making the same things over and over, but I do find that after I've spent a period of time working on writing a new pattern or trying something totally different, for me would be sewing the clothing. I do find some comfort in coming back to these designs because I just know them so innately that I don't need a pattern. I can just cut them without a cut list, and it just comes so naturally to me to make these. And so it is such a double-edged sword, such a catch-22, where sometimes I'm just can't imagine ever making another wallet again. And then I find so much joy in just being able to zone out and cut and sew and end with a large quantity of completed projects. It's another reason why I love making accessories. They come together so quick. They don't use nearly as much material. They're just like quick hits of dopamine, and I do enjoy that. Okay, so I have everything cut, and now I just need to finish prepping. I need to put in ID windows. I need to Mod Podge raw edges of like straps, or let's see, probably just the straps right now, and then I'll Mod Podge after construction. Then I also need to laser engrave all of my logos onto a card slot for every single wallet. So, oh, and then I have to cut RFID. So when I'm doing a big batch of sewing like this, I will go through and just prep everything all at once. And then when I get to the sewing portion, I sew based on thread color for each order. So that's kind of where I go off script. I always sew and make in the order that orders are placed, just to be fair. But whenever I'm having a day of batch sewing and I know that everything's gonna get done, I work in the most time effective way. So I work by thread color. It's just easier for me to just batch sew everything all at once. And so detail work like this is annoying. I don't love doing this part of it. It's all the prep work, but it makes the final product stand out and last a lot longer, and so it is a necessary evil. I do wish that there was an easier way to do things like this, but short of farming this out to an assistant that I don't have, that doesn't exist, I don't know of any other way. So I do always get a lot of questions on how I finish the edges of my pieces. And I just use Mod Podge, just yellow matte Mod Podge, nothing fancy. You need some sort of quick, dry, clear situation. It doesn't have to be Mod Podge. Elmer's glue does not work. It doesn't dry quick enough. You can use base coat if you have extra base coat from doing colors, like leather edge base coat, but it's expensive and it doesn't dry totally clear. It dries opaque if you put it on thick, and I don't like the look of that. It looks milky. I like it to be clear and a nice thin layer. And Mod Podge dries really, really hard, kind of like nail polish, like a clear nail polish, which that might work too. I've never tried that. Now all of that is prepped. Now I need to get my ID windows glued into place. Now I always have a stack of ID windows just cut and ready for this, especially when I'm batch sewing. I will go ahead and cut a ton of them. And they're slightly different sizes. I cut more narrow and longer for my ID windows for all my standard wallets, and then all of my like mini Triskel's tall wallets I cut using the pattern piece, and then I also cut out the center for a thumb hole, and that's how I can differentiate. I mean, they look different to me too, but that's an easy way to differentiate. If it has a hole in the center, it is for a tall or a mini Triskel or a regular size Triskel. But for these slim bifolds key fobs, bifold with IDs, they are all slightly different shape. Ooh. Now I don't finish the inside of the ID windows because it doesn't get agitated. It's not being used in the traditional way that other areas of the wallet are being used, so I don't feel that it's necessary to finish the inside, but if you want to, go for it. I do, however, burn off any loose hairs and kind of singe the cork backing just to delay any sort of wear and tear. And then the glue that I use all the time for adhering pieces together is Beacon Fabri-Tac. Beacon has a boatload of different glue options. They have like 2-in-1 and all these other numerical named glue options. I always do Beacon Fabri-Tac. I don't know, it's just the one that I grabbed when I first started using it years and years ago. It's the one that I've stuck with. But feel free to try whatever you want. My goal for glue when I'm adhering pieces together is quick, dry, and clear. And it works so quick, and I love it. And it doesn't gum up my needle, and it's just a good glue. I like it a lot. After I get my ID windows in, I get my corner template and nip the corners of my main panel here. And then now this is ready to sew. Okay, last thing that I need to do to prep over here before I move to the laser is I need to add RFID to those that have ordered it. So let's see. Yes, on that one. I'm always looking for different RFIDs. They're all pretty much the same. They have the same chemical makeup, but I like fusible RFID. I just think that it lays better. It adds a slight hint of stabilization when it has fusible glue or whatever it is on the back. This though is a new product that I just found, and it is RFID, but it has a sticky back. So the back of it is white because it's covering up the adhesive. And you just cut it like normal, peel it, and then you just stick it. It makes it so much quicker and easier than having to glue it down, which I know is like first world problems. But yeah, I just like fun RFID options, I guess. Now I do have just regular unstick RFID, and it works exactly the same. It's just Faraday fabric. But I fell in love with the iron-on fusible from Fabric Funhouse, but it's been out of stock for a while. So then when I saw this sticky back, I knew I had to try it. And I do like it. But so yeah, it gives just a little bit of structure to whatever the cork piece is, and just makes my life so much easier. While I was getting the laser set up, I had a breakfast delivery. I made these English muffins, sourdough English muffins. They're so good. We just keep them in the freezer and then you just toast them directly from frozen and they're perfect every single time. All right, anyways, I'm gonna get the laser set up and get these going so that we can start sewing. Now I use the glowforge. This is an aura and I like it. It's fine. It's slow, which was not something that I had realized before I bought it. I didn't know that it was going to be as slow as it is. But for the application that I'm using it for, this particular application of adding my logos, I find that it's fine for that. It takes about 2.5 minutes per logo though. So when I'm doing a heavy prep, it takes a while. This step adds a lot of time for sure, but it's very consistent. It's clean. It almost always looks the same. Now that I've gotten it dialed in and I know how to do it, I'm pretty happy with the results. And so you just go to the Glowforge website and I have my logo saved in here. And then it has a camera and it shows you all the pieces. And then you can just grab it, move it around, copy, paste, and place on each piece. So sometimes I put my pieces in slightly sideways, like a little bit askew, and I just tweak my logo. I'll curve it to mirror the slight curve. Okay, now it does not recognize cork as textile that it likes to work with. It's not like a pre-saved textile, so I just do the manual enter thickness. I have found that 0.015 works great. I do, here's my settings, let's see. 100% speed, power of 2, 270 lines per inch, and 1 pass. Now I've tried several different ones over the couple of years that I've had this, year, however long I've had this, and I have found those settings to work great. So once you get your logo placed, then you just press print, and then you'll see the head starts to move around. Now I know there's a glare here, but don't know what else to do about that. Yes, you just kind of let the laser calibrate. It does what it needs to do, and it kind of is telling you what's happening over here. It says preparing print. Then when it's ready, this light over here, which you can't see, this little button here will start to blink to let me know that it's ready to start. Now, when I first started using this, the cat, you know, her bed is like right there. She did not like this, but I think she's gotten accustomed to it now, so she doesn't usually get up and run, so we'll test that theory. All right, my button is blinking here, so press start and let it rip. Right here it says how long it's going to take. It says 10 minutes and 20 seconds. So we're gonna let this guy do its thing and then we'll come back. Oh look, she's awake now. But she hasn't left. Progress. All right, we're all done with our engraving. That's how it turned out. I really liked my old heat press, the way that it would sink into the cork and create like a reverse embossed effect, but it was so inconsistent and I could never find consistency. I mean, there's no other way to put it. When it worked, it was fantastic, but when it didn't, it was extremely frustrating. And I spent years trying to really hone it, and I had the heat press machine, which was really helpful, but then the temperature gauge box was constantly going out and it was just such a pain in my ass. So I finally had to figure out a different permanent method to add my logos. And while this is not my favorite look, I do prefer the heat press. It is always polished and subtle, and it looks really nice. So can't really ask for much else. And yeah, that's that. So now we are fully prepped, ready to go. And this next step will just be going into batch sewing, which, as I said earlier, I just do by color of cork. And the girly pop that ordered the custom dolly has responded, and she has chosen to do a mustard bag with olive accents. So now we get to do a fabric pull and get those options sent over to her, because her order is first. So we have to get her hammered down on the specifics. And in the meantime, I will be working on these other wallets in the background. Then as soon as she's fully decided, we will switch over to her because she is first in line. So like I just said, she said olive or mustard bag with olive accents. And so for her lining option, she said fun and funky and bright. So I'm just going to go through and try to find some options for her. So mustard. So I have this fun like sunburst, these mushrooms, this super retro. I love this. This one is a little weird, but I think that it goes with the overall vibe of the olive and mustard, and then it has like this peachy color as well. So I think it's just weird enough to offer. This is a Giuseppe print, very on the weird spectrum, very low on the weird spectrum, but it's funky. So try that, like a little geometric option. And then you can't get much weirder than this Tula Pink print. I love this one so much. For some reason, it reminds me of like Alice in Wonderland with the talking pansies, but the faces and the flowers. And then it's kind of like, I can't think the shade of green that this is, but it's like chartreuse green. So it's a little bit yellow, a little bit green. And I think that it would pull really well. So here it is with olive. It always looks good with olive. And then I think with mustard, it will look good, but weird. So, okay, I'm gonna do just a couple more. Honestly, I didn't even look through all my fabrics because I feel like I have so many options for this and I don't want to spend all day sending options. But I have this retro pansy. I don't know what kind of flower this is, but this is really cool. It's almost like Art Nouveau. It's like a creamsicle colorway. And then I have these fun flowers. It's got lavender and it has olive and mustard already in it. And then I think this, I mean, muted checker, wavy checker, in kind of those weird tones. I think that these are all going to be fun options. So I'm going to send these over and then we'll see what she chooses. So she got back to me. She chose the one that coordinated perfectly with the cork. And so now we can cut it, but I have to find the pattern because it's been a long time since I made one of these. I just did a little podcast, so that's why I had to like get dressed and do my hair a little bit. And yeah, that's why I look a little bit different. It's been a few hours since the last time I checked in with you. I need to do this pattern too, the Fun Bobby by Sincerely Jen. It's always a good one. I think these are all patterns that I haven't made yet. I think I want to do a series, or like a video idea that I have is putting all of the patterns that I've purchased and never made and writing them down, putting them in a hat, and then drawing it out of the hat and then just like winging it and making it on camera. I think that would be fun. It'd be a great way to test my own limits, but also to whittle down through all these patterns that I've purchased over the years. I know that collecting patterns is a part of our industry. It's like half the fun. It's just like collecting all of the amazing supplies that we all use. But I have way too many that I have purchased and never made. Like this one right here, the Rosie by Knotted Threads, who I was just on the podcast with. So I'm not sure when my video is going to come out. I don't know when the podcast is going to come out, but we just filmed the Denver Backpack by Swoon. See, I need to do that one. We just filmed like the last episode for the season, for season 1, and so fun. If you don't listen to that podcast, give it a shot. She interviewed a bunch of different people this first season, and it was so much fun. I had my own episode. I think I was episode 2, and it's just such a fun, the whole concept is really fun. You get to know people in the sewing community and hear about their process, and you know, just get to learn more about them. I'm borderline nosy. Actually, I would say I'm 100% nosy. I love to know everything about everybody, and so I love things like that. I kind of want to know everything about everything at all times. It just goes against my retention rate, which is not great. I want to learn so many things, and I love learning them, and then I almost always just forget it immediately. And yeah, but anyways, if you like to learn about people that are in the sewing community, you should go pop over to her podcast. I'll link it down below for you. I'll link my episode, and then I'll link Shannon's YouTube, because that's where she has all of the video episodes. They're video too, so you can watch video, or you can just listen on regular podcasts. Anyways, I am not finding success. So hold on, I need to go get out more patterns. See, I used to do Swoon patterns so much that Swoon has their very own notebook. I've done the dolly so many times that it is just out and about, so I just have to locate it. Could it be in this stack of patterns? Maybe. Dog under my desk, snack bag, that was a fun one. I have a video for that. Which is, oh, kids clothing. And wouldn't you know, so I just put out that video of me making the button-up shirt, and I had already purchased a pattern for that. It's right here. It's all cut out. If you watch that video, then you know that I had been planning to make that shirt for Rain for years, for 2 years, and I never did until recently. And the one that I had cut out, what size was this even? 18 months. Okay, so I wasn't too far behind, but don't you hate it when that happens? I guess it's better to support the designers, you know what I mean? Okay, where are we at? Luna Retro by Ora Rosa. Love that bag. The Oxbow. I think I want to make another Oxbow tote. Those were really fun. I need to update my travel bag. I wonder if I should update to an Oxbow over... I've been using the Teddy backpack for years, and she is about to give out. But I wonder if I should do an Oxbow instead of that. Instead of another Teddy. But I'm like... I can't take my Teddy anymore. The zippers are busted. I have stapled it back together at the top so many times. It's old. 5 or 6 years old probably. And the thing has seen some miles. Did it go to Europe with us? I think it did. Did it? I don't remember. It's been all over the US. It's been to Mexico. It's been to the Caribbean. Been to Alaska a couple times, been in the Pacific Northwest, and she is tired, and she got put out to pasture. And so I do have 2 trips coming up though, and I do need a new bag, like 2 trips as in next week, so I'll leave those out, but still no dolly. I have a second Swoon binder. Maybe she's in here. Oh yeah, here she is. Okay. Now through the years I have gone and amended the pattern pieces myself. But man, they are well loved, these pattern pieces. Okay. See all these patterns I have? Isn't this crazy? The majority of them I have made, I will say that. But there's definitely a stack that I've taped and never actually cut out. Okay. Birthday crown, that's a fun one. NCW. I don't even know if these are all gonna fit. Okay. Put these away and then we'll get to cutting out the dots. new day, new outfit again. Yesterday ended up being just like a wildly busy day after the podcast interview, or just the podcast episode. I then had to go to the doctor, and then I went to Pilates. So I don't know if you guys do Pilates. I love it. It's really fun. I do not like working out, but I love that I can just work out like laying down. And then, like a good homeowner story, excuse me, we needed to replace the threshold coming into our back door because after Hurricane Helene, a lot of water pulled up just with like the torrential downpour that we received. The water pulled up, and I started noticing, 2 years ago, like, okay, this is an issue that's happening. And yeah, so fast forward, we had a bunch of rain recently, and we finally said, okay, today's the day. We need to do something about this threshold. So we went to Lowe's and we got what we needed. We come home and Brandon starts investigating, and we had an inkling that it was going to be a deeper issue. That's what homeownership is, right? It's a real, you give a mouse a cookie situation. You have one goal, and then it turns into like you're demoing. And that's exactly what happened. So pull up the threshold. Shocker, we found out that more of the wood under the door frame had been completely saturated. So Brandon starts peeling back. At this point, the vinyl flooring's coming up. The Sawzall has come out. And, within a half hour, there's a hole in the kitchen, and we're looking into the crawl space, as happens with these things. So we're like, okay, the water has gotten pretty far. So underneath the entire 3 feet of the bottom of the door is just like completely rotted. And we're talking the whole framing up to the foundation is just completely rotted. And now that's about 6 inches of wood, but 2x6s, and it's 3 of them that are all completely rotted through. Ew, not optimal. And that set us on this course to repair it. Of course, like whatever, totally expected. Well, not totally expected. We expected some of it, and of course it was worse. But so go to Lowe's, get the wood, yada yada. We discussed involving insurance, but that feels extreme. Because of the length of time that it will add to the problem, and the red tape, right? Like having to wait for estimates and having to get an adjuster to come out and just like all of that BS. And then on top of that, to have the homeowner's insurance, the rate go up. So we opted to not do that. We were like, we could fix it for less than the what do you call it? Like the fee, the monthly, the deductible. We could fix it for less than what we would pay for the deductible. So 2 hours later, we've got some vinyl siding coming off. The hole has gotten much bigger, but Brandon has successfully eradicated all of the rotten wood. I went to Lowe's, and like a big girl, I got the wood and I got the wood screws, and I went and got everything. And I only had to call him twice. So go me. And yeah, so now we have to redo the kitchen floor. So that's exciting. And it's just like vinyl sticky floor. We bought this house. It was like a total contractor flip. We knew that buying it. We where we live is just outside of a big city, and that big city is just like constantly growing. And I'm sure it's the story with a lot of places all around the US. People are getting priced out like crazy. The housing market is insane. And when we were looking to buy, this was the only house that we could find that was even close to our budget, that had the majority of things on our list. And overall, we're happy with the house, but we knew coming into it that it was a contractor flip. But boy, oh boy, that wooden floor, or that floor, the wood under the floor was just like that wasn't on my bingo card. We have decided that we'll do like one big project a month, and the kitchen and the floor and the back door was not even anywhere close to the priority list. So that was another big thing that happened, and put me off of working yesterday. So today I'm back to cutting out the dolly. I just cut out the accent and then the flap. What I like to do when I'm cutting out the flap was kind of what I was talking about doing when I cut out the snap tab. Just cut one a little bit bigger so that way you can trim it down after you stitch it. And unlike the snap tab, this actually gets stitched before this gets stitched on. So the snap tab we will have to trim down. I'm going to put some interfacing in here too, just to give it a little bit more structure. I like to interface that for longevity. But so we'll stitch this and then this will get stitched right on top. The one thing that I don't love about doing it that way is that you see the stitching of the snap tab on the inside of the flap, and it doesn't, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you don't want to see that, then you need to just add your snap tab to one side of the flap. But the problem with that is then, so let's say you've got your snap tab and it's stitched down to your flap, but now you need to stitch around your flap, but you don't want to stitch over your snap tab. So that's always been my quandary is, do I want to stitch over my snap tab or do I want to see the stitching of the snap tab underneath the flap? And that's usually the route that I go. So anyways, let's do a quick check. We've got the back panel, the main panel, back panel top, 2 snap tabs, 1 gusset, 2 flaps, 1 accent. So I think all that I need now is the back pocket, which, are we doing it out of green or yellow? I think it might be fun out of green because as it stands now, the only thing that will be showing in green on the front or on the bag is going to be the front accent panel. So I'm going to do the back pocket in green. There we go. That'll be nice. And then the back of that will be fabric. And then aside from the strap, I think we're good to go. So I'm going to cut out all of this in cotton for the line. All right, so I've got some time to let my flap and my snap tab dry. I'm actually edge painting those so that the raw edges aren't left raw. And I think that it just like really elevates this bag. But so you can see I've started to make some headway on making the bag. I'm not gonna really show a lot of that in this because I do have a full length video on the dolly crossbody. I will link that video down below if you wanna watch that. But I'm gonna do 2 amendments to that video. I'm gonna do a drop-in lining and I'm going to add my hardware here as my strap attachment rather than doing the traditional as written in the pattern or like I did in the last video. So this is what we're looking at here. Now it's a hidden strap connector installation, but instead of using fabric to go around my hardware here, I'm just using my strap attachments that I sell on my website. Now they normally come with D-rings, but I am supplementing with this square ring here. And what we're going to do is simply put the hardware in first and then close it all the way. Now, normally when you're doing a folded edge on this hardware, you need to have a gap here in the center to go over the top of your bag. But because we're sinking this down to recess underneath the gusset, we can just close it all the way. And then in order to fully close it, I just use my rivet press and apply some pressure here. And it's a little bit more closed. Now, just like a recessed strap anchor, I have marked where I need to make this cut. And I'm just going to cut that open with my X-Acto blade. And then what we do is we slide the hardware on the front side of the gusset down like so. Now, you want your hardware to be sunken into the back of the gusset to where it's sitting nice and flush right around that loop, but you don't want to pull it so hard that it starts to change the shape of the top of the gusset here. So just as comfortable as you can get it, you're going to slide your hardware here along the back and then mark your hole. And then I'm going to punch that hole. And then I do have some scraps of cork here because I want to add some additional supplementation of width, because The rivets that I'm using are the big boys, and they have nice long posts here. And so I want to give the post more to grab onto to ensure that my caps set straight and that I don't get a wonky rivet, because these rivets will be holding the purse when it's in use. So you want to ensure that these are set correctly. If you have any questions about rivets, tools, things, anything about rivets, check out the video that I have. I go over every single aspect of it. I give you all sorts of tips and tricks. So check the description box and I will link that down there as well. So now I'm sliding my hardware back into place. I'm going to put my post in through the front here, flip over, and then I'm going to add a long piece here, and I'm putting the color side down. In the off chance that the client accidentally takes a peek in here, there's a very small chance that that will happen, but in the off chance that it does, I want her to see yellow cord. So I'm just going to punch a hole here. I'm going to push it down like so, and then I have another piece here that I'm going to also sink down. Again, I'm trying to give this post more to bite onto. So take the cap and then press using whatever tools you have. Like so, simple as that. And then now that I have it set, I can trim off, where's my scissors? Can trim off some of this excess. I am going to leave a little tail, and then I'm going to put some duct tape over all of it just to hold it all in place. Now this is a lot of overkill, but I'd rather be certain that the bag does not come apart at all when the end user has it. And what's it to me to have a little bit of duct tape on the bag, you know? Now nothing will shift around. The cap won't be able to come off. And from the front, everything looks nice, symmetrical, and uniform. And my gusset is now ready to be added to my front panel. So I have been doing some of the wallets while I wait for the elements of the dolly bag to dry, and I thought that it would be fun to time myself to see how long it takes me to make a trifold wallet from start to finish. Obviously it's already cut and it's ready to go, but I haven't started sewing on it at all. So I set up a stopwatch here. Let's see how long it takes me to make this. Ready? 3, 2, 1. 14.5 minutes. Now that is not cutting it, but every other step of the way, up to and including edge coat. Now, obviously it's not dry, so I can't like package it, but I would say all in all, including cutting, because I know it, I have this pattern memorized, I bet I could get this whole wallet done in 18 minutes. It's pretty good. Look how cute it is. Here's the top. And then on the inside, these contrast stitch lines are just beautiful. And then the fit of the lining is perfect. Snug as a bug in a rug. And then I opted for a double cap magnet snap, double cap magnet rivet snap. I don't know. I opted for one of those guys. These guys are super strong too, which I love. Love, love, love how strong it is. But it feels nice and structured, but not like terribly stiff. So last up, we just need to attach our little strap here. And just like that, our dolly is complete. She's so cute. I need to incorporate this pattern back into my lineup. It seems like a perfect little summer bag because it only carries the essentials, but it's quite roomy and it's nice and wide down here. I think it would be nice if the pocket was in here instead of out here, because then everything would be super protected. But it's such a cute bag. I think I'm going to try enlarging it. Let me know in the comments if you want to see this enlarged as a video. That would be awesome. And the client who purchased a coordinating wallet to go with it. So the key fob wallet goes with it. And I was going to do the contrast stitching as well, but I didn't want to, because this doesn't have any other mustard on it and she didn't mention incorporating the mustard into the wallet. I didn't want to make it a total matching set. That way the recipient can use this as a standalone, but for size reference, it's a key fob wallet inside. And she is just darling. I love it so much. The yellow edge paint does add a lot of time, but it really ties the room together, you know? Some of those details are really worth spending the extra time and effort on because it just really elevates your work, takes it up a notch.